Hi, I'm Mr. Simons, and in this video, we're going to look at a specific question to do with fiscal policy. I've been looking at fiscal policy with some of my classes at school, so it's all fresh in my mind. And I saw this question and thought it might be useful to go through for some of you that are looking at elements of fiscal policy, particularly the difference between things like outcome and stance. So what we'll do is we'll just go through this question, I'll put it up on the screen and I'll talk you through it as I'm going through it as well. The first thing we might do just briefly is talk about, well, what the hell is fiscal policy? And fiscal policy is the federal government's use of the federal budget to achieve economic outcomes. So let's look specifically at this question. I'll just put that up here. So we've got 3 years, we've got government expenditure, G, and taxation receipts, T. So the question says, well, before the question, let's have a look at the 3 years. Let's do the outcome for each of these years before we get started. So we can see for year 1 that there is a surplus of 10 billion, that receipts are greater than expenditure. The second year, we can see a surplus of 5 billion, and the third year is a deficit of 7 billion. In terms of working out surplus and deficit, all I'm doing is saying taxation receipts, that is money coming into the government, that is revenue, and government expenditure, that is spending. So all we're doing is doing revenue minus spending gives us the outcome for that year. So let's go back to the categories here. So it's saying what has happened between years 1 and 3. So you'll recall we started in surplus and ended in deficit. So we can say that the answers are going to be B or D. We have not moved into surplus, we have moved into deficit because expenditure is now greater than revenue. So we've got B or D as possible. So it says the budget outcome has moved into deficit, so which either adds to national savings or which adds to national debt. So if we think about it, if the budget is in deficit, that the government is spending more money than it earns, so therefore it needs to borrow money to fill that gap. If the government borrows money, that's going to add to debt. So in this situation, there's no way it's going to add to savings. If the government is spending more than it earns, it's not building up that kind of pool of savings that budget surplus would allow. So instead, for this question, we're looking at D. So the budget has moved from surplus to deficit, and that is going to add to national debt. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. If you've got any questions on this particular question, just let me know in the comments. Always happy to, trade knowledge, bit of banter, that kind of stuff. And as always, thank you very much for watching.